From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Ukrainian farmers taking drastic measures.
And so some of our clients there have been actually damaging their combine so the Russians can't combine it.
An update as farmers continue to try and save the harvest. GMO crops move a step closer to reality as farmers in the U.S. battle Mother Nature.
Lack of rain, too much rain, hailstorms, wind, tornado.
We check in on how the growing season is going right now on AgDay. Good morning and welcome to AgDay. I'm Michelle Rook. Clinton Griffiths is on assignment. This week's USDA Crop Progress and Conditions Report reflected some of the extreme heat and adverse weather farmers have been facing this season. For example, in Nebraska, the corn crop was rated 64% good to excellent, down 4% from last week and off of the 82% rating a year ago. Soybeans didn't fare any better at only 62% good to excellent, down 6% on the week and down 21% from 2021. Farmers there tell me they're trying to stay positive about crop prospects, but no yields will be off of 2021. Mother Nature has thrown about every challenge she can at producers in Nebraska this spring. State Ag Director Steve Wellman, who also farms south of Omaha, says they've faced some real adversity.
We've had all kinds of weather issues across the state. We can start with the wildfires in southwest Nebraska or the Panhandle. Lack of rain, too much rain, hailstorms, wind, tornado. It's been a pretty rough May and June so far.
And multiple storms have left a path of destruction, especially in central Nebraska, where Mark Jagels farms. He says hundreds of irrigation units have been damaged, including on his own operation.
I mean, in our area, probably in about I'll go a 40-mile radius. I mean, I would be willing to guess that there was probably somewhere between 500 and 700 pivots. Just numerous storms. I mean, maybe not full pivots. A lot of swing arms were tipped over.
Hopefully they're not damaged too much, but that's part of, a key piece of production here in many parts of Nebraska is the irrigation. Almost 9 million acres of crops are irrigated here in Nebraska.
However, Jagels says some of those pivots may not get fully repaired in time for the prime irrigation season.
The steel, they can get to replace the swing arms and stuff, but the electronics, just in everything. I mean, whether it's chips in vehicles or whatever, but the electronics are definitely the thing that are slowing up rebuilds.
Some farmers in that area were hit by early frost and now hail and are still in the process of replanting.
We had to replant some soybeans after a frost. There's been numerous hailstorms, hail systems that have come through the state that have pretty much wiped things out. And I mean, I would say corn this size have gone down to nothing.
Plus, many counties have already been declared disaster areas due to drought, including in southwest Nebraska.
We're pushing towards the drier side for sure. I would say too, in this spot, we probably had less than 4 inches of measurable precip since January 1st. That's not normal.
He says they usually catch most of their rain in June, so the dryland crops are running out of time.
The yield prospects in the area, so these are dryland acres. If we don't catch some rain in the next 30 days for our dryland corn and soybeans and grain sorghum, which would cover the majority of the dryland acres around here, we'll zero them out. They won't produce.
And even irrigated yields may be limited in that area due to water allocations.
They'll have to stop pumping water when they hit their allocations, which will be the issue, and we could see some major yield impacts.
So another year like 2021, where the state had record corn and soybean yields, may be out of question.
I would say we've lost the top end yield potential, that's for sure, across many areas of the state. Yes, there's been too many weather challenges. Last year was a record yield for corn and soybeans here in Nebraska, and yeah, I can't imagine that we're going to reach that this year.
Yet Wellman and other farmers are trying to stay optimistic, and they say the state as a whole could still see normal to above normal yields as long as weather for the rest of the season doesn't turn back hot and dry. Some showers in Texas are helping improve things for the cotton and other crops. Now the Corn Belt could use some of that rain as well. Meteorologist Matt Yarosavik joins us to let us know if any is in sight.
Yeah, Michelle, we've had some showers in parts of the west, but hopefully getting a little bit more as we head towards the weekend. It's really going to stay mostly dry over much of the lower 48 until we get into the weekend, and that pattern really not changing all that much. Take a look at the temperatures as we head through to this afternoon. 80s, 90s, still very, very warm and humid across the center part of the country, and not too many chances of rain either. Here's a look at the next couple of days. This takes you through Friday evening, and you can see not too much going on. Some showers and storms in the south and east across parts of Texas, but look how much more rain or future track paints that rain coming in to the country as we head into next week. So it looks to be more active next week, and we could get some drought relief at that point. But it's going to be this week very dry and warm, and next week looking forward to some of that rain. And a beautiful sunrise in Alliston, Ontario, Canada. Nick sharing this picture with us saying, "Good morning from a field of taters." Looking good, Nick. Thanks for sharing. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
So did farmers actually plant more soybeans than corn? We'll get that answer tomorrow as USDA releases its acreage survey results in the latest quarterly grain stocks report. Now, in March, the agency shocked the markets with its prospective plantings report. It said farmers would only plant 89.5 million acres of corn. Most predicted 92 million. And for soybeans, the report showed 1 million more acres than expected, a record 91 million acres. The average trade guess for Thursday's acreage report shows about 370,000 more acres of corn and 500,000 acres less beans than in March. Lance Honig with USDA's National Ag Statistics Service just wrapped up the latest survey of farmers.
There's a lot of speculation out there about what those acreage levels are going to look like.
And we'll bring you those numbers when they're released at noon Eastern time tomorrow. Look for our coverage on agweb.com and our social media channels, and we'll have a full report Friday morning on AgDay. One crop developer says the FDA has concluded GMO wheat is safe to eat. The announcement comes in regards to BioSeries HB4 wheat variety. It was genetically modified for drought and herbicide tolerance. Last year, BioSeries said it would focus on winning approval for key wheat importing nations before it put its GMO seed on the market for cultivation. U.S. Wheat Group said prudent application of agricultural biotechnology could deliver benefits, including being more productive and easing food security concerns. BioSeries says it plans to seek planting approvals for next year in Australia. And leaders from G7 countries are earmarking up to $5 billion in funds to help address global food insecurity. They say this move is needed to counter the production problems caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. will foot more than half of the bill. President Biden has committed nearly $3 billion towards the effort. The White House says the Russian attack has hindered grain shipments, which will force tens of millions of people into poverty this year. And in Ukraine, farmers are being forced to do something many farmers here in the U.S. would deem unthinkable: destroy their own equipment. They're doing it to prevent the Russian army from confiscating the wheat currently ripening in fields. Dan Bossi of Ag Resource discussing it this week with AgriTalk's Chip Flory.
It's a war zone. It's messy.
Yep.
It's a shame, and our hearts bleed for the Ukrainians that are being harmed by all of this. But it is what it is, and I think it's going to, as we step back from it, we'll find that Ukrainian wheat crops will come down. Availability may not be as robust, and we don't know about quality yet. But if we delay the harvest more than 2 or 3 weeks, quality will suffer also.
In recent days, the Russian army has bombed refineries, seaports, and many other parts of the country's infrastructure. Bossi estimates at least 3, maybe 4 of the 7 major export terminals in Ukraine have sustained such major damage. The destruction means even if farmers have kept their equipment intact, many are unable to access much-needed diesel to fuel the harvest. Why are fertilizer prices so high? Iowa State University looked into it at the request of the Iowa Attorney General's office. Researchers say they don't have enough evidence to refute the idea that increased production costs and supply chain issues are the main reasons behind the rise in prices. They also say the argument that fertilizer firms may be taking advantage of inflation to raise prices raises more questions than answers, and that more data is needed to support those claims. Texas A&M Agriculture and Food Policy Center conducted a similar study it released earlier this year, blaming the Russian invasion of Ukraine along with supply chain disruptions for the prices. Growth Energy is filing another suit, this time over EPA's approach to getting small refineries to comply with the renewable fuels standard. You'll remember in April we reported EPA denied small refinery exemptions for 31 facilities for the 2018 compliance year. But Growth Energy says EPA declined to hold affected refiners accountable for meeting any blending obligations for that year. Instead, the biofuel lobbying group says EPA crafted an alternative compliance approach, one that excused the refiners from ever having to comply with the 2018 blending obligations. The group filed its petition in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. Corn and wheat bounced back on Tuesday, while the soybean market had some double-digit gains. We'll track all of the market activity coming up. And later, check out this dog, why his owner calls him simply magnificent in the country.
Ag Day is brought to you by the End Zone by Farm Shop MFG, which allows you to rehydrate your soybeans from 10 to 13%. On a 20,000 bushel bin, that's an extra semi-load added to your bottom line. Order your End Zone fan control by July 31st and receive $200 off.
Joining us with market analysis, Arlen Suderman with StoneX Group. And Arlen, nice rebound in the corn market. And was some of that just because crop ratings were lower than expected, or is the market looking ahead at weather?
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors. We sold off hard last week. A lot of the blame went toward moderating weather forecast models looking deep into the month of July. Those have started to reverse a little bit, but a lot of it was also economic worries. It was a broad-based sell-off of commodities, and that money was coming back into the commodities. A little bit of bargain hunting after the big sell-off that we've had. The fundamentals are still there supporting these commodities. There's still supply concerns going forward, and I think a lot of traders said, let's come in and do some buying at these levels. But there wasn't also that much conviction with today's buying either. So I don't want to put too much into one day's strength.
So soybeans also seeing some double-digit gains on Tuesday, and that market is kind of in corrective mode. But with China opening up a bit here and some talk of some China business, do you think that's helping to drive some of that buying too, or not?
Well, it certainly is, and the funds love trading soybeans. So if there's an opportunity, they're going to choose soybeans above everything else. But they are, and China only has about 60% of their coverage of needs for the month of August. Most of their July is bought already. So August, they have very little of the September needs purchased. And so you get a big price break like we had. That's an opportunity for them to come in, particularly with the weather models being concerning going forward.
And speaking of that price break, do you think because we had the big recessionary sell-off last week, as we go into the reports on Thursday, that may temper some of the bearishness if there is some?
Yeah, absolutely. If we were at record high prices, then there would be more vulnerability to the downside. But since we've come down off of those record highs or near record highs or contract highs so much, that leaves us a little bit more vulnerable to the upside, probably particularly if corn has a surprising low acreage number and or stocks.
Okay, thanks so much. And you can get our full analysis on agweb.com. Arlen Suderman joining with StoneX Group here on Ag Day. More Ag Day coming up.
Contact Arlen Suderman by email at arlen.suderman@intlfcstone.com.
Ag Day is brought to you by MetLife Investment Management's Agricultural Finance Group. MetLife Investment Management is positioned to help you grow your business with a competitive farm, ranch, and agribusiness loan. To learn more, visit investments.metlife.com/agriculture.
That your Suffolk is in with our national forecast. We've seen a lot of crop stress across the Corn Belt, Matt, and are we going to see much of a change in the future?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be dry for the rest of this week. There is some chances for rain, though, and a couple of those come, though, with a chance for some severe weather, and today that looks to be across the northern plains. And that threat for storms comes along a cold front that will be moving through the upper Midwest, and we're going to be talking about here in the Dakotas from Rapid City all the way through central parts of South Dakota up into south and east parts of North Dakota, just to the east of Bismarck, including Fargo, and then upper parts of Minnesota as well. An isolated tornado possible here. Damaging wind gusts going to be the main threat, with a few heavier downpours and even some isolated pockets of some hail thrown in there as well. And again, that cold front, as it moves eastward, it will be kind of dropping those temperatures down very briefly, but the heat's not going anywhere for this part of the country. It's going to stay very warm as we head through the end of the week. So here's a look at our national map. We kept the pressures on here for you today because look at this. We've got high pressure here in the south and a stalled out front, and that's what's causing some of this right here to kind of pop up, bubble up. All of this kind of moisture here right along that stalled out front. Meanwhile, in the west, you've also got high pressure here, but then we've got some more scattered showers here coming through New Mexico, parts of Arizona, and really that is going to be much of what we're going to be dealing with as we head into Thursday as well. High pressure not moving very far. We do have a low, though, forming across parts of the Rockies, and that will bring some showers and storms to Denver and then move up into the center of the country. Meanwhile, the southeast still dealing with those showers and storms out there. So here's a look at the precipitation as we head towards the end of the week and into this busy holiday weekend. A lot going on from East Texas all the way to the Gulf Coast and the southeast, with some rain along that stalled out front. Much of the west, though, just dealing with those pop-up showers and some storms. Very warm, though, right up through the center of the country. Temperatures closing in on those triple digits, and even as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, it's still going to be pretty warm out there with temperatures back in the 80s and 90s. Very humid as well, and this jet stream is not going to change all that much. It's going to stay warm and humid, especially in the east, as we head through the weekend and into next week, before more rain could be possible next week, and we'll keep you updated with that right here on Ag Day. That's a look around the country. Now let's take a look at the weather where you live. Lansing, Michigan, morning showers with sunshine breaking out, a high near 82 degrees. Scattered showers and storms in Victoria, Texas, a high of 91 degrees. And San Joaquin, California, sunny and hot, a high near 103.
Still ahead, how scientists are giving so-called fake meat a little exercise. And later, meet a very unique dog who now holds an unusual title in the country.
It's time to sign up for the 2022 United Pork Americas Conference in Orlando, Florida. Register today at unitedporkamericas.com and join us September 7th through the 9th.
It's one of the most destructive and invasive species right now, according to USDA, but work continues to try and manage them. We're talking about feral hogs. The agency estimates there are over 6 million of them across the nation, causing $2.5 billion in damages every year to crops, forestry, livestock, and pastures. In 2014, USDA established the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program. Farm Journal's Pork Business reporting on the progress, saying that to date, the initiative has worked with 41 states and 3 territories. You see the feral swine population from 2021 in purple in this map. It reports it has removed all feral swine from 11 states. They include Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, New York, Washington, and Wisconsin. Texas and California have also ramped up hunting measures. Can cultivated meat be exercised? One food company thinks so. The company is called Meatech 3D. The company says on its website it uses science and technology to develop high-quality meat products that are made from cells rather than animals. This is video on YouTube from the company of how it prints steaks. It says it has developed a system to apply external force to muscle tissue. Meatech says it's created a system that allows cultured muscle tissue to strengthen and enhance in a way that mimics how a cow's muscles are developed while it walks and grazes. They say this helps enhance their meat's fibrous texture that includes the right elasticity, density, and taste. Coming up, we introduce you to an award-winning dog, just not in the categories we often talk about next in the country. We often celebrate beautiful dogs or amazing farm dogs or heroic dogs, but a dog named Mr. Happy Face is none of those things. Mr. Happy Face is a 17-year-old dog with a crooked head and a mohawk. He was just named the world's ugliest dog. Check out that winning smile, complete with a very long tongue. His owner is Janita Benally. She says she rescued him from a shelter where she asked to see only unacceptable dogs. The hairless Chinese crested Chihuahua mix came from a hoarding situation. At first, he couldn't even tolerate human touch, but now he has bonded with his human owner, enjoying lots of cuddles. And while some have called the ugliest dog contest mean, Mr. Happy Face's owner knows better, calling him magnificent. That's all the time we have for this morning. Thanks for watching, and for all of us here at Ag Day, have yourself a great day. I'm Michelle Rook.